Hi all. In a surprising revelation during a recent hearing, senior US Senator Lindsey Graham acknowledged the increasing oil revenues of Iran in recent months, thereby shedding light on the ineffectiveness of unilateral sanctions imposed by the United States on Iran. Graham criticized the US government for its failure to prevent Iran's oil exports and highlighted that Iran is, in fact, making more money under the US and US dollar financial sanctions, with China being the main catalyst behind these ineffective actions. Despite being subjected to comprehensive sanctions, Iran's oil revenues witnessed a staggering 20-fold increase last month. The primary driver behind this unexpected surge is none other than China. For years, the dominance of the petrodollar has posed a significant challenge for oil-producing countries, as frequent sanctions and restrictions impede their economic progress. Iran's endeavor to break free from the monopoly of the US dollar and the petrodollar is both fair and reasonable in terms of global economic and trade dynamics. The country is using concrete examples to assert that the era of the petrodollar is coming to an end, even before the US imposed sanctions on Iran in May 2018. Iran had officially declared the renminbi, RMB, as a major reserve currency, aiming to replace the role of the US dollar in foreign exchange. Presently, the RMB accounts for over 25% of Iran's foreign exchange reserves, allowing Iran to benefit from its early efforts to detach itself from the restrictions imposed by the dollar. Iranian oil companies have reaped substantial benefits from this shift. Over the past 36 months, around 31 million tons of Iranian oil have been gradually shipped to the Chinese market, with transactions primarily conducted in RMB. The U.S. sanctions resulted in freezing billions of dollars owed by Iraq to Iran, leading to efforts to pressure Iraq to sever its energy cooperation with Iran. However, the data clearly shows that one-third of Iraq's electricity and natural gas supplies rely on Iran. Thus, the U.S. sanctions on Iran have indeed created troubles for Iraq's energy and trade environment. Despite these challenges, Iran and Iraq signed an agreement this month to expand their energy ties, indicating that Iraq is embarking on the path of de-dollarization and seeking independence from the US and the West in its financial dealings. The Central Bank of Iraq has officially announced its intention to settle trade with China directly in RMB for the first time. These developments highlight the erosion of US influence over oil-producing countries in the Middle East. The recent reconciliation between Iran and Saudi Arabia in Beijing, as well as Syria's return to the Arab League after 12 years, further illustrate the diminishing influence of the United States in the region. Saudi Arabia and other oil-producing nations are establishing stronger economic cooperation with Syria, joining forces to counter the limitations imposed by the US dollar. This growing unity signifies the continuous weakening of U.S. influence among oil-producing countries in the Middle East and predicts the failure and loss of influence of U.S. Middle East policies. A survey reveals that 73% of people desire to see the U.S. disengage from the region, while China, Turkey, and Russia are now considered the most powerful allies in the region. As the global economic and monetary landscape undergoes significant changes, more countries are becoming aware of the unreliability of the US dollar. They can now engage in economic and trade activities bypassing the dollar-dominated monetary system, reducing their reliance on the dollar. Venezuela's call in 2017 for all oil transactions worldwide to be denominated and settled in RMB set the stage for other oil-producing countries to follow suit. Nigeria, Angola, Algeria, Russia, and Iraq have started de-dollarization initiatives, conducting a series of non-dollar currency transactions, including the RMB. In oil trading, these endeavors undermine the US's attempts to maintain the status of the petrodollar. Saudi Arabia, which has been a key player in the petrodollar agreement, has recently expressed openness to selling oil in currencies other than the US dollar. The country has accepted Kenya's local currency, the shilling, for purchasing Saudi oil, effectively replacing the dollar. Additionally, Saudi Arabia is selling oil to Chinese buyers in RMB and converting the RMB proceeds into gold at the Shanghai Gold Exchange, further diversifying its foreign exchange reserves. Accumulating gold reserves and reducing U.S. Treasury bond holdings signal that Saudi Arabia is edging closer to terminating the petrodollar agreement. The dominance of the US dollar, as renowned commodities expert Jim Rogers asserts, is coming to an end. Concerns about U.S. policies and global confidence in the dollar have increased, diminishing its long-standing status as the global reserve currency. The lack of neutrality displayed by the White House has eroded the dollar's reliability as a financial instrument. Rogers believes that no currency can last for more than 150 years, and he sees the potential for the renminbi to replace the dollar as the most widely used currency for international settlements. As of May 19th, at least 112 countries have initiated various degrees of de-dollarization, practical actions taken by some of America's allies to distance themselves from the dollar underscore the declining status of the dollar and the petrodollar. Simultaneously, the RMB continues to expand its reach in global markets. For example, Russian merchants have ceased accepting Indian rupees for oil transactions, indicating a potential shift towards accepting the RMB for significant purchases of Russian oil. The proportion of RMB settlements in Russian imports soared from 4 to 23% in 2022, as Russia conducts more trade in RMB. An increasing number of countries are adopting RMB settlement systems to mitigate the risk of exposure to the dollar. Former Bank of England Governor Mark Carney believes that since the emergence of RMB crude oil futures in 2018, it has become one of the top 3 global crude oil futures, on par with Brent and WTI. Carney foresees the emergence of a new reserve currency in the future, with RMB crude oil futures already providing a new option. The petrodollar's decline and the rising prominence of the RMB are long-term developments that will likely continue for years, if not decades. The era of U.S. dominance is waning, and so is the status of the dollar. The recent transactions, such as the first-ever liquefied natural gas settled in RMB and the increasing acceptance of RMB for oil and commodity trade, indicate that some countries are taking tangible steps to distance themselves from the dollar. This gradual shift weakens the economic leverage the U.S. once held. As the petrodollar agreement approaches its demise, the U.S. will face the consequences of its own actions and policies, ultimately losing its sharp economic influence. Express your thoughts by leaving a comment in the section below. We appreciate you for sticking with us until the end of this video. Before you leave, please show your support by giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos. We look forward to seeing you again for more captivating content in the future.